All right, Neil, I'm live. Let's go. Oh shit, my bad. It's straight on mine. Sorry. Thank you. It rotated it for me. Must not have for you guys. So.
I was just gonna say it might be sideways.
Yeah, my bad. On my screen, it rotated it for me, but must not have for everybody else. It's way
Oh,
easier for me to have it that way. So I was like, oh, it works. All right, cool.
yeah. I'm sorry, bro, man. I went straight to bed, slept soon, and I actually overslept. Got up, took off. I didn't do any prep,
No,
so I'll wing it.
it's cool. You'll be pretty good off the top of your head. I'm not too worried about it. I just got to open up the questions real quick. All right. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. First question: what 500 or worse team has the best chance to make a playoff run?
Um. I looked this up. I kind of like. I don't know. There's a couple that I really like. And this is a deep, deep, big reach, but the Jets got a super soft schedule coming up. I mean, real soft. They got Miami a couple times, but I mean, they're a long shot to make the playoffs because they have to get by Buffalo and everything. Um, and I would have to, I kind of like San Diego's chances. They
Really?
just got rid of Wisenhunt, and I think that means that Melvin Gordon's going to get the ball more, which he should, because he just can't. You can't get into a rhythm getting the ball a few times. I don't know what Wisenhunt was doing. If he was thinking he was punishing him or what, but um,
Right.
I'm gonna have to say San Diego.
Yeah. Punishing him only works if it's not hurting the team. So that would have been a mistake. Um, there's two teams I have for the season, and I couldn't come up with one, so I'm just gonna say two. But both of them. One is Cleveland. Cleveland's got a powder puff schedule the rest of the way through. The only team that I see on their schedule that they're gonna struggle with is Baltimore. And say they lose to Baltimore, they're still 10-6. So
And even up on the head-to-head.
right. Like I mean, their
See,
schedule.
I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to sound like a homer either.
I get it. It's the same. I do the same thing when I talk about the Vikings. It's hard for me to do it. Everyone knows I'm a Vikings fan, so I understand that. But as a guy that's not a Cleveland fan, I don't think anybody can look at their schedule and say that they're going to lose more than two of those games. Maybe somebody can be like, oh, they'll lose one to Pittsburgh, but I mean, it's cupcake, dude. Um,
Well, Cleveland's getting some important defensive pieces back, and on top of that, Pittsburgh's just falling apart. Is physically falling apart. Their players are getting hurt. I mean, they've already said Connor and Snell had a procedure done on his knee, but Connor's already out, so
yeah,
Samuel's going to be the only guy there.
yeah. I don't think Connor will be out for very long. It's just an AC joint strain, so I think they're holding him off for precaution. I don't think he'll be long, but they're definitely hurting for sure. Um, yeah, like I said, I know Cleveland hasn't been the best, but their schedule is bad. I mean,
Yeah,
all the hard teams out of the way, and literally their defense has been playing well. Last week against the Patriots, they scored one touchdown on defense, and then they got the ball at the 11 where they scored another one again. So if you take those away, they only gave up 13 points to New England.
right.
So that's impressive. Their defense played solid last week. But the other one I got to go with is another schedule-based pick, and it's Detroit. Detroit's schedule is outside. I think they play Minnesota again and Green Bay again, and they get Green Bay in Detroit the last week of the season. And outside of that, their schedule is cupcake the rest of the way. Like, when I looked at it before, I thought it was pretty well spread out because the Bears were supposed to be better than what they were, but the Bears stink. And if you can't score points, you're not going to beat Detroit because that's what they do well. So, I mean, as of right now, unless they get unless like Matt Stafford goes down or something with an injury, they got the best shot, especially with Minnesota's history of choking down the line. Especially with Minnesota's history of choking, like down the stretch, they got a good shot at making the postseason. Seattle and the Rams, they all got tougher schedules, and they're in the wild card race too. Than both Minnesota and Detroit down the schedule or down the stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. The next question is: can Seattle's defense stop anybody anymore?
You know, I don't know. I mean, they got rid of not all their big pieces. They still got Bobby Wagner there, but he's not playing like he has been in the past either. So, man, the problem I think is secondary. They don't have the secondary. The Legion of Boom is
long gone.
It's history. I mean, and I think that really hurts their front seven because they don't have them corners, and the safeties would just lock down anything that went out past the linebackers. And the front seven just isn't talented enough to get back to the quarterback in a timely manner, in my opinion. So, yeah, they're going to have to outscore people. They don't have defense like they used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have much more to add to that. I feel like that they might be a little underrated a little bit too because they play a lot of good offenses. Seattle has. So I mean that's got to play a factor a little bit too in like what's going on. Like even next week, I think they play Tampa this week, right?
Yeah.
Even though Tampa stinks, right? They still defenses are pretty much like judged based on how many yards they give up, which I hate, but that's kind of the way that they're ranked. And Tampa can put up yards, so I mean, even this week they got their hands full on offense. But the only good thing for them is that Jameis Winston forgets sometimes what jersey that his team's wearing, so like he tends to throw some to the other team. But I don't know if Seattle's really got to worry about it because, like my dad just said down there, does Seattle really need a defense? Because their offense is going to carry them all over the place. So I think as long as their defense maintains around the average level, they're all right. So they got one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Right. The one thing, though, with that game, I think it's going to be a little closer than people think because what does Seattle like to do? They love to run the ball. And not a lot of people know this, but Tampa Bay is the number 8 run defense in the NFL this year. They are actually really solid against the run. So it's going to have to – Seattle's going to beat Tampa, which they should, but they're going to have to put it in the air a little more than they like to, in my opinion.
Actually, I got to correct you on a stat. I don't like to do this, but I just want to point it out. Tampa's actually number 1 in run defense.
Oh, are they number 1? Okay, last I heard they were 8. So
they only given up 68 yards a game on the ground.
Right.
So
well, that even bodes better for my argument.
Right. So that just helps your argument even more. I just wanted to point that out that they're actually better than that. Like, they were 8 a few weeks ago, but they've been like locked down. Just pretty much almost all season. So
right.
That's difficult. Seattle's gonna have to throw. I mean, with Russell Wilson, they don't really have like much of an issue throwing the ball though. So
no, I'm just saying they're.
Huh?
I'm just saying that they're not going to be able, in my opinion, they're not going to be able to pound Chris Carson up the middle 25, 30 times because they're going to get probably not going to get anywhere doing that.
That's true. I know this won't affect this week at all, but Seattle just picked up Josh Gordon, so I wonder if that's going to change their whether they want to pass or run more now, because now several weapons now with Metcalf and Lockett and Gordon. And now Gordon's got a QB that can throw the ball deep now because we've all noticed, even the biggest Tom Brady fan has noticed that his deep ball is not what it was before. So,
well, it's going to depend on how hurt Gordon really is, which personally I think they just threw him on IR just to say he was hurt. And the other thing is, how fast can he pick up the playbook? Kind of like Kenyon Drake. I was absolutely blown away at what he did last night. And he's only been in town 72 hours. But I guess from what I heard was if he wasn't on the practice field, he was in the film room. And if he wasn't in the film room, he had a playbook to his face. Right. So,
honestly, I was shocked he even played last night, to be honest with you. That was crazy. And then the way he played was, woo.
I traded for him in Fantasy Masters a couple weeks ago because I knew he was going to get traded, and I almost put him in, but I thought, no, there's just no way he's going to get a significant role. I thought it was going to be more Alfred Morris and Zach Zenner with, kind of like a 30-30 or 33-33-33 split.
Right.
And I'm kicking myself in the ass today because he put up. Yeah, he ran for $110, and I think it was 53 yards, a 2-point conversion, and a touchdown. So he got like 31.5 points last night.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe what he was doing last night, especially against that defense. The defense that he it was nuts. All right. Is Mike Evans being wasted in Tampa Bay like A.J. Green was in Cincinnati?
No, he's just not being uber targeted like he has been in the past because they got another very good receiver on the other side of the field.
I think what he's trying to say is his career being wasted being on a bad team, kind of like Calvin Johnson or whatever.
Who's this?
Huh?
What good player that's on a bad team isn't being wasted?
I mean, yeah, that's true. There's an easy answer to that, I guess. Anytime this question comes up, the answer is yes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm trying to think of somebody off the top of my head right now.
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson in the past. Barry Sanders. I mean, all them guys got wasted.
Yep, agreed. Okay, so that was an easy question. We can move on to that. Can the 3 and 4 Bears make the playoffs?
Not with that offense, and not with Nagy turning into Adam Gase Jr. I mean, did you see his press conference?
Oh, he's an asshole.
Dude, he might as well have been up there when somebody asked him a question, and his reply should just very well could have been blah, blah, blah.
That's extremely accurate, to be honest with you. That's really what it is. He's like a little kid, like throwing a temper tantrum up there anytime they ask him.
Yep. And he's like my second least favorite coach in the NFL. Gase is by far my least.
Damn, I thought you were going to go with Freddie Kitchens since he coached in your team.
Well, he's third.
Right.
There's no sense in being like that. And I tweeted this today to one of the podcasts I listened to, and I tweeted and I said, so I wonder if Adam Gase was sitting around watching the game last night thinking, why am I such an idiot? Why, after watching what Kenyon Drake did when he was down in Miami and he refused, you said he wasn't a 3-down back. Well, every time he's been a 3-down back, he's performed 100% every time.
Yeah, they didn't really give Drake the chance. I always liked him. I always thought he was a great running back.
Yeah.
I got a simple answer for this question. The answer is no. They don't have a chance of not finishing 4th in that division. So let alone make the playoffs. You're in the toughest division. I know there's some NFC West fans are watching. Okay, so arguably the best division in football, and you can't score. Okay, like that is huge. Okay, like all 3 of those teams in that division can score, and you can't score. Like that's a problem. That's a huge problem, right? You have a chance to go 1-5 in this division. You got to win, a very ugly win over Minnesota when they were very dysfunctional. And ever since then, that was like their wake-up call. They've been on fire. Detroit being led by a quarterback that's having an MVP caliber season. Aaron Rodgers woke up for the Packers, and they have a run game. Like, there's no way.
Did you see that throw last week? Rodgers throw, the one where he was falling down and he lobbed it to Williams. Was that ridiculous or what?
That was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life, and I hated
Me too.
Guy.
Me too. I mean, I've been watching this game for 45 plus years, and that was probably one of the top 3 best throws I've ever seen.
Oh, it was,
and he was not trying to throw it away. He was intended it there.
No, that was completely intentional. Like, I think that rivals the Mahomes no look pass from last year.
Yeah,
because that was insane too. I don't want anybody to forget about that, because that was nuts.
The only reason I'm putting this above it is because it went for a touchdown, and he was actually on his way to the ground.
Yeah. No, it was. I'm not saying Mahomes was better, but I'm saying that they're right there for sure. Yeah, it was just insane.
I didn't mean to get off topic.
I really wish Mahomes would have played in that game. Because that would have been fun to watch. But yeah, we got off topic. We definitely did. We were talking about the Bears. Is Kyler Murray making you a believer in Arizona going forward?
Oh, I think they have a very good future. I mean, if Kenyon Drake is what he showed he was last night, I mean, what's he going to be like when he actually masters this offense? This offense is cut out for him. And Kyler Murray needs a running back like that is versatile the way he is. I mean, he's an upper echelon pass receiver as far as a running back goes, and he reminds, you know what? Him and Aaron Jones could almost be twins, the running style. And I mean, hopefully for those Cardinal fans out there that they're smart this year in the offseason and in the draft, and they go out and get some offensive line pieces and some defensive pieces, because they've got a good core of offensive skill players right now.
Yeah.
And they're all young. I think Drake's been in the league, this is his 4th year, I think, 3rd, 4th year. So
yeah, I think fourth, yeah.
So I mean, he's other than Fitz, he's the oldest of the skill players.
Yeah.
So I really like their future. That's going to be an interesting conference.
Yeah, offensive line's a huge need for them, though. They need to fix it. So killed. But yeah, he looks really good. I've been very impressed by him. The only time that I haven't been impressed by him all year was the first 3 quarters against the Lions in his first game.
Mm-hmm.
Since the 4th quarter of that game and forward, he's been good on just a team that can't contend yet. Like, they're a young team that's going to build it. They're going to be a problem in the future, as long as they get some offensive line help. But he has definitely been impressive, and I've seen some people in the football group that I help be an admin for that claim that he's 3-4-1, 3-5-1. He's not doing that good of a job. It's like, all right, do you guys watch the games or what? Because he's killing it. Like, I got no problem with him at all. He's my vote for. Actually, no, he's my runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year. If Josh Jacobs wasn't in the league right now, Offensive Rookie of the Year would be his. So definitely impressed. All right, or does he have the potential to be one by the end of the year? Oh, I lost Neil. Damn it, Neil. Hang on, guys. Sorry, this is embarrassing. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'm gonna start out on this question and hope that he is able to rejoin. I don't think that Golladay is a top 5 receiver in the league. I think he's a solid receiver in the league. But I don't think he's got the separation ability to make him top 5. Here's Neil. Hang on, guys. He's coming back. Woo! We got him back.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So I just started on the next question without you because it was a little awkward sitting here.
Yeah.
Like it's always, it's the most awkward part of some of these videos. But so the next one, I don't know if you heard the question or not, but
No.
is Kenny Golladay a top 5 receiver, or does he have the potential to be a top 5 receiver by the end of the year? And I said that I think he's a very good receiver. I don't think he's top 5. He's got a huge problem with separation. And I know he's not fast, but you can get separation even without being fast. But that's been his biggest issue. I've read lots of reports on him, and that if he could figure out how to separate from defenders more, he might be the best receiver in the league because that's his problem.
Yeah, he's not top 5. He does have the potential. I mean, I can name 5 right off the top of my head right now. It's Michael Thomas, Evans, Thielen, Adams,
Hopkins.
I mean, I could probably even stretch it a little bit, maybe say only because I think if he were the one on this team.
Oh, froze. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the 5 receivers that Neil said. There's a couple others I'd put above him too that are in the league right now. But I mean, the guy's good. Yeah, Julian Edelman's a good one. I think that he's probably pretty close to being about. Yeah, there's too many good receivers in the league right now to put him at top 5. So I think that he's got the potential, but he's got a ways to go yet. He's only in his second year, so I wouldn't put too much like negative on that. All right, well, next question. Will Jamal Adams be traded in the offseason? Yesterday I want to say yes to that question. He was having a lot of problems with the fact that the Jets tried to trade him. I think he brought up a quote like, the Patriots don't try to trade Tom Brady. Like he put himself in that category, and he's extremely good, and I think he does belong in that category. Neil, I can't send you a join. Back out and try to rejoin it again. Because it's not letting me. I see your comments. Yeah, it won't let me send you a join again because it says I already sent you one. There. You let me know. But I guess today he said he had a meeting with the Jets organization and things are in better standing now. So I don't know. It's hard for me to tell because he's still under contract, I think. So I don't think he's got a choice in the matter unless they just give him what he wants. So I just did send you one, Neil. There, send again. But no, I think he'll still be a Jet. They can't afford to lose him. They're trying to build something, and the Jets are only bad right now because he. There he is.
I don't know what the hell's going on. It just said pause. I could hear you, and you were moving, but I was paused, and it wouldn't let me do anything to rejoin.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. That's part of doing live videos, man. Like, it's cool. Sometimes my stuff gets staticky, and there's nothing I can do about that either. So, just gotta continue where we are. I don't know if you heard the question or not, but we were talking about Jamal Adams and whether he'd be traded. I think he froze again. Oh, there he is.
Apparently, my connection was not very good.
I thought that he'd still be at, because they can't afford to lose him. I think they're building something good in New York, and they would be stupid to trade him. I know the record don't look like it, but they got a lot of pieces in New York, and they've had kind of some unfortunate stuff happen this year. So I don't think there's a chance in hell he gets traded. So I don't know what your take on that is.
On Love?
No,
Did
on
you hear?
Jamal Adams being traded.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear. Well, you know what? He was pretty butthurt over that whole thing, and he might force his way out of there. Because you know, somebody said something today. It was really interesting. You didn't hear anything about Michael Bennett being sent to the Cowboys or even being shopped until it happened. You know what I'm saying? And the Jets just don't do it right because, you know, they're like Jamal Adams, nobody expected that. You know, he's young and a centerpiece of that defense. And personally, if I were Jamal Adams, I'd be pissed too. Because that's just, you know, that's just no way, in my opinion, to run a business. And that's what it's what an NFL team is a business.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me while we were missing connections, but I'm 50-50 on this whole thing, like half on their side and half on his, because I don't like how he tried to compare himself to Tom Brady. Like you're a second year safety. Chill. Second of all, I heard he had a conversation with the Jets organization. I guess things are good now. Like so he's not mad.
Oh.
I read that this morning that he said things are cool, things are pulled over, and he's happy to be in New York. So, from what he's telling us, things are good now. That's not always true, but I don't have any reason to believe that it's not. Sometimes players do get mad, and they can fix things easy with the organization. So until I hear more, I think they're good. So the Jets would be dumb to trade them on their own. That's for damn sure. So
right.
So let's see how that goes. So we'll go on to the next one now. Will the Lions do you think the Lions have a chance to beat the Packers at Ford Field in Week 17?
I mean, that's kind of a long ways out. A lot of variables could happen between now and then. Injuries is the main one. Suspensions, possibly. You never know. But if they were to go in as is, man, that would be a shootout of a game.
Yeah, it would be a hell of a game. Do that.
The only weakness I'm seeing right now in Detroit is, believe it or not, the run defense, which is really kind of shocking. But they're giving up 133 yards a game average.
Yep, crazy. I seen that stat this morning too, and I heard earlier today before we started the podcast. And I was going to bring that up, so you stole it from me. But they're also 32nd in pass defense.
Yeah.
And they've had a bye week.
Yeah.
So there are teams that haven't had a bye week that have played a whole nother game, and they're still ahead of the Lions in pass defense. So, which, by the way, all the people who are mad about the Quandre Diggs trade, that's part of it. So, the Lions are weak on defense for sure, but they for some reason they stick around in every game. And so if you're asking if they have a chance to be able to beat the Packers in Detroit, yeah, they got a chance to. They almost beat them in Lambeau, so they definitely have. Actually, I seen something that was surprising. The Lions actually run the ball better than I thought they did. They're averaging almost 100 yards a game rushing.
Yeah, but that was Kerryon, though.
But Kerryon wasn't doing much. So Kerryon was only averaging like 3.3 yards a carry. Like it's the mix between all the backs.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trey Carson looked like the better back last week. But I think it's going to have to fall back on Stafford again in his arm and the receivers.
Yeah, well,
they're back to having no running game.
I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. Ty Johnson and Trey Carson looked like they were a good combination last week. And Trey did look like the better back in the first quarter when he had 5 carries for 25 yards. But then he finished with 12 carries for 34 yards. So he had 7 carries for 9 yards after that.
And Ty Johnson had 7 carries.
Yeah, he had 7 carries, but he got the majority of the second half workload though. So
yeah, you're not going to establish a running game with 19 carries between two backs.
Fair enough. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. I think a lot of the lack of running last week though is because Stafford was tearing up the Giants. I don't know if you've seen what his second half stats were last week, but he was 12 for 12 for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half last week.
Right, and again, it's the Giants too.
I know.
I mean,
I'm not. Don't take anything away from Stafford. He's having an MVP type season.
well, I'm not taking nothing away from Stafford. I'm just saying, part of the I guess I'm saying that to throw that out there with the whole running game concept that we were talking about. It's the Giants. Those two should have shredded them for a whole lot more than what they did. And, I don't know. I'm really, really, really worried for Detroit fans as far as the running game goes from this point on.
Well, we'll find out this weekend because Oakland doesn't have any defense. So.
Yeah, but they got a pretty good offense too, and Detroit doesn't have much of a defense right now.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the running game, we'll find more from Detroit.
Right.
Because they should be able to run all over Oakland. Like you should be able to run all over Oakland at any point in time.
Excuse me.
They have a shot at beating Green Bay. I don't know if they're going to do it. We'll have to wait till we get closer. They're going to make an actual prediction on that game.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. I think Matthew Stafford's very underrated, and anytime he goes into a building, especially with the way that he's matured since Kelvin Johnson is retired, they have a chance to beat anybody. It's just a question of Detroit's always unlucky, and they always don't have the ball last. And that's the problem because their defense can't stop any. It's just the way it goes. Will the Jets give the Dolphins their first win?
No. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I mean, there's so much turmoil going on down there in Miami right now. Half of them guys don't even want to play, and it shows. I mean, they hung around for a little while with Washington, but again, it's Washington. And the Jets are, the Jets still have a shot at the playoffs. It's a very long shot, but they still have a shot. And I think with the whole turmoil of the three players, Anderson, Bell, and Adams being shopped around publicly, I think that brings them together a little more. Personally, I think they're just going to go to Miami and just run a train on them.
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
There's an easy answer for me to answer this question. Miami's throwing football games. Okay, I don't know if anybody's noticed this or not, but I have 2 perfect examples to prove to everybody that they're throwing football games. They're down 17-0 to Washington 2 weeks ago, and they come back. It's 17-6. Scored 17-16. Any team that has the momentum like that, where you've scored 17 unanswered, you don't go for 2 to try to win the game. You kick the extra point, and you go to overtime because you have all the momentum. The team that goes for 2 is the team that had lost the lead and then got lucky and scored at the end of the game. It was like, I don't want to go to overtime because we're getting our ass kicked in the second half. They purposely went for 2 to lose, and they threw a screen pass on the goal line, a wide receiver screen on the goal line, and Fitzpatrick just threw the ball into the ground. It was like, okay, that was obvious. And then last week at Pittsburgh, they had like a 3rd and 20, and they sent like an all-out blitz. Like, everybody. Left the guy wide open for like a 50-yard touchdown. Like, I mean, it doesn't get more obvious than that. They're not trying to win any games here.
No.
They're trying to get that number 1 pick. Honestly, I'm very excited to watch the Cincinnati-Miami game later. I think that could be a 0-0 tie. Coin flip for the damn number 1 pick. Like, so I can't wait for that game. I'm very intrigued how bad that game will be.
I can't wait for next year's draft for whichever one of these teams picks the wrong quarterback.
I agree. Whoever picks Tua is going to bust.
Yep. Well, maybe not bust, but he ain't going to be worthy of a number 1 overall pick either.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I guess I shouldn't say bust this early, but I don't think he's going to be that good.
No.
I think Jalen Hurts is a way better quarterback than he is.
Well,
And Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than
Joe Burrow's a better quarterback, and there's another kid that's coming out of nowhere. Huh?
Herbert?
No.
No.
He plays at a smaller school, but he is just lighting it up. And man, his name is escaping me right now. I just saw this last weekend. I'll find it and I'll text it to you.
Right. Also, let's not be 100% that QB is going to go number one, because Chase Young's a beast and he could easily. I mean, Miami and Cincinnati wind up getting it, they're going to take a QB. But if somebody like the Jets, who only have one win and they just collapse the rest of the year, get it, they're not taking a QB. So, so it all depends. I'm pretty certain Miami is going to get the number one. Then they will take a QB, and I know they're going to take Tua, because they're doing the whole tank for Tua thing like they did suck for luck back with Indy. So, all right, next question. I'm pretty sure I lost you again. I did. Does Lamar Jackson outshine Tom Brady this week? I think so. Yeah, he's a way better athlete than Brady by any means, and he may not have better quarterback numbers than Tom Brady does this weekend, but I think he's going to have the better game. He's going to have close to 100 rushing yards, if not more. The Patriots haven't faced anybody like him. The closest that they come is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is not that talented. Like, I don't mean that to be like a dig or anything at him, but he's not like Lamar Jackson talented when it comes to athleticism and running around. So I think that Jackson. I'm not saying Baltimore is going to win this game. I'll save that for later when I do my picks. But I am saying that he's going to give New England a lot of trouble. And he's definitely going to play better than Brady is. And I don't care how many Brady people there are in here, he's lost a step. He's not the same Tom Brady. He's not lighting up the statistics anymore. So, it is what it is. Lamar Jackson's the better athlete. So that's, I don't have much more to add to that. If you disagree with me, please, you feel free to give me reasons why you think that, but that's just the way that I look at that game. It'll be a close game. It'll be fun to watch, though, so I suggest everybody watch that game. It's Sunday night this week. It's going to be really exciting. So New England's toughest test by far. They haven't played a team like that before, and they're well coached. Harbaugh's a good coach. He always has those boys ready, and for some reason, New England struggles with Baltimore. Outside of the Giants, that's probably the team that they've had the most trouble for. I remember their battles in the playoffs. For some reason, Baltimore gives them issues. So, yeah, they definitely got to watch out for that. So, is Jacoby Brissett the long-term solution for the Colts? My answer now is different than what my answer would have been before the season started. I think that he is. So, he's done really good. And I definitely see him as a franchise quarterback. Before the season, I thought they were going to win like 3 or 4 games. So I'm pretty glad to be wrong about that, because it was very upsetting to see Andrew Luck retire as early as he did and as young as he did, and to put that team in the position that they were in. It's just a sigh of relief, because when Brissett took over 2 years ago when Luck was hurt, he wasn't that good. He was serviceable. He was a good game manager, but now he stepped way above that and gone to that next level. And I think that's great for that team. I do think that he's their answer. And if I were them, I would lock him down for many years. And I would not worry about drafting a quarterback. He's just played out of his mind this season. So, and I'm sure all Colts fans would agree with me on that. So, all right, well, I can't get Neil back on camera, so I'll just do a couple more questions, and I'll give you guys my picks, and then get off. I guess his phone actually died this time. He just texted me his batteries got shot, so I don't think he's coming back on. So, here's another good one. Next 5 years, Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson. I think Kyler Murray's the better quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson's the better athlete. I think Lamar's going to have the better career the better next 5 years. I think that's the question you're asking, right? Is it next 5 years or who's better after 5 years? I'll answer it like I think I read it. The next 5 years, Lamar Jackson's going to have a better career because of where he's at in his surroundings. I think Murray's playing out of his mind for what he's got in Arizona, and it's crazy. I think both of them will be great quarterbacks, but it's like Lamar Jackson's got pieces around him, like a lot of good pieces around him, good coaching, a weak division. Cardinals do not have a weak division, so that is a negative for them. And so, yeah, I got to go with Lamar Jackson on that. All right. Is there a reason why the Lions stood pat at the trade deadline? I don't think that they didn't stay pat. They tried to make moves. They talked to a lot of people. They talked to the Falcons about Devontae Freeman. They talked to Dolphins about Kenyon Drake. They talked to the Chargers about Melvin Gordon. They didn't stand pat, but people wanted too much for all those people. So I think they did a great thing staying pat because all these people were just asking for too much. They were really close to pulling the trigger for Freeman, and then the Falcons just decided that they were like, oh, we're just going to keep him. So Detroit fans watching, they didn't stand pat. They just didn't overspend, which is a good thing in your guys' case. You don't want to overspend in these type of situations. So especially with all three of those running backs being the three worst graded running backs by PFF this season. So I don't think you're missing much. Okay, so I'll run down my picks for each game. I'm just going to make it quick here. All my co-hosts can't get in here. And then I'll post his and my picks on Facebook so you guys can look through it again. Both me and Neil had San Francisco last night in the game, and we posted it on Facebook so that nobody can say that we didn't pick them before the game started. Not that that's that hard to believe, but the game was much closer than it should have been. Good job, good effort by Arizona there. It was a hell of a game, very entertaining. Houston, Jacksonville, and London. I know that London's like a home game for Jacksonville, but I got Houston. I just think that they got too many weapons there. Even with the J.J. Watt injury, I know somebody told me that without J.J. Watt, they don't stand a chance. But J.J. Watt's not the same as he was back in his prime. This team's no longer carried by J.J. Watt. It's carried by Deshaun Watson. So, they got better weapons, better receivers, better quarterback. Jacksonville's got the better running game, but even the Texans even got a better defense, I think, now that they've lost Ramsey. So I'm going to go with Houston on that. Washington, Buffalo. I'm going to take Buffalo. Washington's not good at all. And Dwayne Haskins is starting, and everything we've seen from Haskins since he's started playing has been terrible. And so he's going to have to give me a reason to want to pick him, especially against a defense like Buffalo, in Buffalo. So I got no reason to think that Washington's going to pull any upsets here. So I got to go with Buffalo. Minnesota at Kansas City. Actually, I'm going to be doing a podcast in about an hour on the NFL Longest Yard group with Ryan Reed on there. 5 things to know about your enemy, where we kind of debate this game. He's a big Chiefs fan, so if you guys are watching, please tune in for that because that'll be fun. But I got Minnesota in this game. I know this is going to shock you guys, but Minnesota's better than Kansas City in almost every statistical category. So especially defense. They're miles better in defense. In their passing game, Vikings passing game is the only thing on offense that's worse than Kansas City. And their rush game's miles better. So without Mahomes, it's going to be a blowout. With with Mahomes, it'll be a close game. I'm still taking Minnesota. Kansas City is 1-3 at home this year, which is crazy to think about because Arrowhead's like one of the toughest places to play. The lack of defense is going to kill them. They're giving up 145 yards a game on the ground, and you got Dalvin Cook, the NFL leading rusher, coming in there. That's just not good. Plus momentum. The Vikings won 4 games in a row, and the Chiefs just, haven't been playing that well lately. So you got to go point towards Minnesota in this game. They got. I mean, they just got everything going for them. So the Jets in Miami, I kind of gave everybody my reasoning earlier who I think is going to win this game. The Jets, the Dolphins are trying to lose games, so I don't even think the Jets can screw this up. Chicago at Philadelphia, I'm going to go with Philly. Again, reasons I pointed out earlier about why Chicago wasn't going to win the division is like almost the same reason why I'm going to pick Philly here. Chicago can't score, and you're going to need to put up more than 10 to 12 points against Philadelphia in most weeks. I know they have their occasional week where they just don't show up, but Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. He was an MVP candidate 2 years ago. Not much has changed with Wentz. Wentz is still very good. I know there's a lot of people who think he's overrated. I don't see how anybody can say that. I don't have any reasons why I could believe that Carson Wentz is overrated. He's definitely not. Their problem is their secondary. And they're playing Chicago with Trubisky, who can't take advantage of that. So I don't see this being a very good game for Chicago again. So Philly in Philly. Indy at Pittsburgh. I got Indianapolis. I know it's on the road, but Mason Rudolph hasn't looked that good. James Conner's going to be out with a shoulder injury, and Indy's been, good. I mean, they're playing to the level of their competition a lot, which I don't like that. And growing up in Michigan and watching the Lions play a lot and having a soft spot in my heart for the Lions, I've watched that my whole life, and it's never good. So, because that's what the Lions do. If they play a good team, they play as good as them, but if they play a bad team, they play as bad as them. So that's kind of how Indy's playing, so I don't like that. So that could give Pittsburgh a little bit of an advantage, but Brissett's played lights out, and I think he finds a way to do it at the end of the game like he did last week. They had no reason to win that game against Denver, and he found a way to do it anyways. True grit in a quarterback, and that's why I think he's the real deal. Tennessee at Carolina. At Carolina, I know they looked ugly last week, and but that 49ers are just, they're a whole new breed. I think Kyle Allen's played well in every game he's played in except last week's game. Tennessee, since I'm picking Carolina, Tennessee will win because every time I pick the Tennessee game this year, I've not got a Tennessee game right all year. That's crazy, but I haven't. Every time I pick them to win, they lose. Every time I pick them to lose, they win. I don't know I don't understand Tennessee. They're very confusing. But I think Carolina's the better team. Tennessee's too Derrick Henry dependent. Although I have liked the shift from Mariota to Tannehill. I think he's done a good job at bringing that passing offense alive, and Tennessee hasn't seen a passing offense in maybe since McNair's been there. I know Vince Young had a couple good years, but it's not like he lit it up through the air. And I'm not saying Tannehill's not like elite by any means, but I mean he's played well since he's took over. But I just don't. I think that Carolina's defense is good, and they're going to limit Derrick Henry. Whenever they limit Derrick Henry, they struggle bad. So that's my reasoning for picking Carolina. Detroit at Oakland. Detroit's going to win this game. Stafford's playing lights out. He's having an MVP type season this year. And Oakland's got no defense. I know Detroit doesn't have, on paper, their defense isn't very good, but they have a lot of, bend, don't break defense. And I don't know. I think this game is going to score a lot of points. The thing that scares me is that Detroit can't stop the run, and Josh Jacobs is an animal. He's right now would be my pick to win a Rookie of the Year offensively. But I I don't like Derek Carr. I've never been a big fan of Derek Carr, and I don't think he can outduel Matthew Stafford in a shootout. And that's what this game is going to be, is a shootout. This is going to be a fun game. Anybody who doesn't have a game to watch in the 4 p.m. Eastern time slot range, I suggest you pick this one if you got ways to watch any game you want, because it's going to be fun. Detroit in that game on the road in Oakland. Tampa Bay at Seattle. Seattle's going to win this game. They're the way better team. Jameis Winston, I don't get him. Sometimes he, I shouldn't say some games because it's just plays. Like some plays, he looks really good. Like he's reading the field really good. He's got a cannon for an arm, and then the next one, he's just like he throws to like a guy in the middle of the field on the opposite team with nobody around him, and it's crazy. It's just I don't understand it. And I think that's going to be the difference maker in this one because Russ doesn't make mistakes like that. And when Winston does, he's not going to outduel Russell Wilson because Jameis Winston will make mistakes in this game. Russell Wilson will not make mistakes in this game. And that's going to be where it is. Plus, it's in Seattle, and where it's really loud. And the moment Seattle scores, that place is just going to be rocking. So I got Seattle in that. Cleveland at Denver. Denver just pretty much announced that Joe Flacco is going to miss the rest of the season. People here not confident in this team at all. If you guys don't know that I'm watching, I live in Denver. They're starting Brandon Allen. Like I honestly, as much as I watch football, I've never even heard of this guy, and he's going to get the start for Denver. I know it's here. I don't know if that makes much of a difference. Cleveland's got too much talent to lose this game, and I know they haven't put it together really this year, but there's just too much there. Cleveland's defense is really good, and Denver's offense is doo-doo. So it may be low scoring, it may be ugly. Baker Mayfield may not play good again, whatever, but their defense is going to win this game for them. Cleveland wins in Denver. Green Bay at the Chargers. The Chargers just fired Whisenhunt, and I think that will make their offense a lot better. It's in L.A., but L.A. never has any home games, okay, because they don't sell tickets there, okay? So I think that crowd will be more Green Bay fans than they will be Charger fans. So essentially, it's like a home game for Green Bay. The Chargers they're not what they are. I heard they're not what they once were. There's reports that they might move on from Phillip Rivers after the year is over. And I've heard rumors swirling that Joe Burrow could be the guy to take over from LSU. So even Rivers isn't playing to the best of his ability. Green Bay's playing good football. Rodgers is playing really well. They can run the ball. Their defense is great. Devontae Adams may play. I read that today. He's going to be. They're not going to decide till 90 minutes before kickoff, so that will help them. But it doesn't matter for Rodgers who plays because he seems to make his receivers just good regardless. The guy's amazing. I hate him, but he's amazing. Nobody should ever try to say that he's not. There's no way that the Chargers beat Green Bay. I think that if I had to pick lock of the week, it would be that one. Green Bay wins. New England at Baltimore. This is where everybody's going to slap me here, but I'm taking Baltimore. It's in Baltimore. New England's had nothing but a cupcake walk all the way to here. Their defense has played nobody. They're going to struggle against Lamar Jackson. And this is going to be the first game where New England's offense is going to have to carry them to a victory. And Tom Brady's not Tom Brady anymore. He's 42. He looks 42. And thank God for his offense because his statistics ain't that bad because he's got a dink and dunk little offense. But you can see when he tries to throw deep balls that he's not the same anymore. Now, yeah, sure, he connects on some of them. He's still arguably the greatest of all time, right? So washed up Tom Brady's still better than most, but I don't know if he's the Tom Brady that can carry him to a win against a team like this. Lamar Jackson's I think he's going to rush for over 100. I think he's going to pass for 250 to 300. New England's defense hasn't even come close to playing anybody like this. And it's going to be fun, though. This game's going to be very close. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I expect a very good game that comes down to the end. But Baltimore's well coached, just like New England. So usually when you get a coach, when you play New England, you're way out coached. Not in this game. Belichick's the better coach. Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, but you have a coach across from you that is extremely good at what he does, and he's not going to allow himself to be completely manhandled in the coaching department. So he's a genius too. So Baltimore is always a struggle for New England. It'll be a fun game, but I got Baltimore in a close one. Dallas at the Giants. I got Dallas on the road. I'm not sold that the Cowboys are good, so if I get this game wrong, I won't be shocked. Daniel Jones looked really good last week. He looked really good against his first game in Tampa Bay. He's got Saquon back now, so and it's in New York. So this game, I think this game will be close too. I think it's gonna be a pretty good Monday night game, despite what people might have thought when they seen it at the beginning of the year. But I do have Dallas slightly because the Giants' defense just isn't very good, and Zeke's gonna feed on that defense. And whenever Zeke plays good, Dak tends to play good. So that benefits Dallas here because there's no way they're going to shut Zeke down. So Dallas in that game, and they're going to take control of their own destiny at this point forward. So they already have a victory, a blowout victory over Philly. So the Cowboys, only one team from the East is going to make it. So this race between Dallas and Philly, one's going to make it, one's not. It's going to be a fun little thing to watch going down the wire. So those are my picks. I'll post them on Facebook with Neil's. Thank you guys for watching and supporting us. I am sorry for the technical difficulties with Neil. It's part of doing live videos. It's awkward for me, trust me. But we do the best we can. So I thank you all for supporting us. It means a lot to us. So thank you. And we'll see you guys next week.